We believe in Europe, it's also the case, I think, in Latin America quite often. I mean, Brazil has very worked a lot on that. India also, the Québécois, of course, you know, the Canadian that speak French. We believe in cultural diversity, and we have made a lot of fight at UNESCO and other international institutions about that. And I believe we were right. I've been in South Korea, and when you see how the US are destroying quotas for the movie industry just to have more US movies, blockbuster in South Korea and less South Korea movie, you realize how they really destroy cultural diversity. And when they did this negotiation, they they were able to get rid of a part of the quota system. And a few years after that, the blockbusters from the US were much more important in the total box office than before. And the Korean, what we call Alwi, how do you say that? Alwi, which is the new wave of South Korea movies and music, HALLUE, I think. It's like the K-pop as well is part of the Alwi, possible maybe. You see how it has a real reaction, a real effect on the box office. And actually, what I said about Mexico in the beginning with the movie industry, or how the US are working in Brazil or Argentina to destroy any way to fund the local music industry to promote more their own music is extremely a key thing to destroy cultural diversity. But then, if we look at inside, we have a very different pictures. In France, for example, we believe in cultural diversity when it's abroad. But at home, what about the culture for the Arabs? We don't care. What about the local culture, the folk culture, the indigenous culture? We don't care. The Québécois that are so proud about cultural diversity all the time, they didn't care about Aborigine culture. And don't even speak about the Chinese, you know, that believe in cultural diversity when it's to have more Chinese product abroad. But when it's at home, speak about the Tibetan story, for example, or Taiwanese, or even right now Hong Kongese, and you will see what is the reality of cultural diversity at home. Whether in the US, it's exactly the opposite. I told you how they destroy cultural diversity abroad, but at home, they do it a lot. First of all, because, as you know, there is 51% of their population that is Hispanic. And among them, 51 million Hispanic people in the US, which means 15% of the population. And I think there is 30 million Mexicans, 38 million of blacks, 15 million of Asian, among them probably close to 3 million Chinese. So it is a very diverse culture by definition. And when you speak about, you know, cultural diversity in France on the movie industry, we love diversity. But then, how many Chinese movies we have seen? A few. How many Mexican movies we have seen? Probably none, or very few. Whether, of course, in the US, by definition, you have movies from Mexicans just because you have Mexicans. And I think you got the point. But basically, you can think about that a bit more. But you know, the fact that you really believe in cultural diversity abroad, but you don't do it at home. Or on the contrary, the US destroy cultural diversity abroad, but do it at home. It's, for me, extremely interesting. And I think it's part of the reason why they are also very powerful, because they are able to produce a culture that already from the beginning is organized. They think about the product as a product for the world, with characters that are blacks and more Latino right now, that are already extremely diverse, because they produce a culture that is more diverse, even though they destroy the diversity of culture abroad.